Hi, welcome to the video. This is another video on Eusebius Ecclesiastical History. And I'm going to go over book 2, chapter 15 in this case. The top of the chapter called the Gospel according to Mark. And so I'm going to quote this portion here. This account is given by Clement in the 6th book of his institutions, whose testimony is corroborated also that of Papias, bishop of Hierapolis. But Peter made mention of Mark in the first epistle, which he is also said to have composed at the same city of Rome, and that he showed this fact by calling the city by an unusual figure of speech, Babylon. Thus, the church of Babylon left together, which he saluteth to you, as also my son Marcus. Okay, 1 Peter 5:13. So many people have bought into this. Many people have bought into this, hook, line, and sinker. So here's some problem with the statement. When looking up in the 6th book, Rome is not even mentioned in Clement's 6th book. Okay. Also, Eusebius did not give us a citation where he claimed Papias mentioned Peter being in Rome. So if you click on this link here, backs it up with him, that he just made this up. Yeah. So, yeah, and by the way, it began about 100 years after his death. I believe that is the rewriting of history. The claim that Peter's in Rome. So it's history that the 4th century prior, by Eusebius, I believe he did a lot of rewriting of history. Why? To centralize power on Rome using the religious sect. So to help gain political power or maintain political power for Rome. All right. Number 2, Peter was not using unusual figure of speech. He was not using apocalyptic literature like John was in his book of Revelation. He was not using metaphors. At the time he wrote, there were actually 2 Babylon on the map. All right, there were Babylon Egypt and Babylon Iraq. So Peter, being an apostle Jew, again, Galatians 2:7, was writing to the Jewish Christians in the 5 churches he mentioned in 1 Peter 1:1, and mentioned they were scattered. And by doing that, it was suggesting to them it was time for a gathering. Now keep in mind, they had to be very hush-hush and quiet about their gathering because they could not have the persecution follow them. So they had to leave quietly. He couldn't just announce it, make it abundantly clear. And keep in mind, he did this in writing, and then Mark is probably the carrier and sent it to him, to the 5 churches. He's not going to sit there and plainly say, hey guys, it's time to go for a gathering, because that could draw attention, and then they risk persecution following them. Alrighty. This was after the lawless one was revealed. Now remember, in 2 Thessalonians 2, Paul had mentioned to them that the lawless one had to be revealed first. Well, guess what? He was revealed on August 14th, 1866. So Peter, being the chief apostle and feeding them so forth, he would have been able to identify, oh, there we are. We now have our laws on. So basically, the Jews who came to Christ, they had one set of eyes on the Lord, Jesus Christ, and had another second set of eyes on Sheol, Satan incarnate, which was Eleazar. He's the lawless one. All right? And so their second set of eyes was on him. He was the one on August 14th. His dad had died. His dad was a restrainer. So now he's free to go, being lawless. And on that same day, he ordered a cessation of sacrifice for Caesar, which was the final straw for Nero to call out for a war against the Jews. It started the beginning of the Roman Jewish War. It wasn't just that, but prior to that, the Jews who rejected Christ, they took over the Masada, and they also refused to pay taxes to Caesar. So the combination of 3 things that really started the war, with no longer giving this sacrifice to Caesar with the final straw. All right. So anyway, Peter was still in Jerusalem to identify who the lawless one was. So at that point, then he wrote 1 Peter, the 5 chapters. They knew which Babylon was referring to. All Peter had to do was just mention Babylon, and they knew which one he was referring to. All right. They definitely knew it was not Iraq, since that was where they left their 70-year captivity centuries ago. They knew it was Egypt, since Egypt in their mind was a safe place to be. It was far away from Caesar, and Rome had many water channels funneling to Egypt. So if you look at the map, you have many water channels funneling to Babylon, all right, where Peter would have been, all right. They had to leave quietly for gatherings and near persecution not followed. I already went over that. And then chapter 16, Eusebius mentioned the following chapter mentioned Mark preached the gospel in Alexandria, Egypt, which has far more credibility than Peter being in Rome. Egypt spoke Aramaic, their common language at the time. There's also been a help prepare for their referring to stick of Joseph, gathering away from the activity of the Roman army at the time. So we look at the map again. So Alexander is over here, all right? So you had the Roman army over here, all right? So it makes sense if you're stick of Joseph, 5 churches that Peter wrote to and the 7 churches that John wrote to. When you leave for the gathering, you're going to go on this side, you're going to enter on this side. So it makes sense that Peter or Mark would have been over here to lead the way to bring them to Peter, and Peter then would have escorted them to Petra for the gathering, where we see the earth split, and Petra has a history of floods, so if it matches Revelation 12:12, there's plenty of scriptural support for this. Unlike Eusebius claimed they went to Pella. I'm going to have another video on that, which is it's absolutely farce that he mentioned that. He destroyed all credibility, with me anyway, when he mentioned that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of scholars that have been fooled by this. I know Ed Stevens, one of them, sharp guy, but he apparently went forward with his research believing in what Eusebius said, and it has affected his research, unfortunately. And many others, okay, many scholars. But anyway, so it makes sense that they enter this side and funnel this way. Now, if they missed one, okay, enter here, there are multiple channels to enter from. It could be more of an escape, if anything, and then they're the escape route if they needed to. Eventually go out. But keep in mind, the Roman army was destroying or following orders of Nero, and Vespasian was carrying out under Nero's orders to destroy the temple. And then later on, his son, Titus, continued to work, but Titus really poured it on. I mean, he totally surrounded Jerusalem and would not allow anybody to go in and out, trying to increase the effects of the famine. I believe Peter had already passed away by this point. And so when Jesus said, you're surrounded by army, desolation's near, and so Josephus documented that. And sure as heck, he also saw them the day they were fleeing as well. And so I came up with the date of April 10th of AD 70 when that happened, which was on a Thursday afternoon, which means their prayer was answered when Jesus told them, pray your flight not take place in the winter on the Sabbath. So their prayer was answered, which also the last day of the 1335 day of prophecy at the end of 12:12. So blessed is he who makes it to the end, endure to the end. So those who made it to the end, they fled. And now this is the stick of Judah, Jews who were in Jerusalem, so they would have fled towards Petra. And I believe the lawless one, Eleazar, he also fled, but he went to the Masada. Let's see, where is that? Somewhere over here. But he did not go to Petra. Joseph stayed behind, and he documented what took place there all the way up till AD 73. The Masada is a very important event because in AD 66 is one of the reasons that caused the war. The Jews who rejected Christ took over Masada. 7 years later, the war ended. The Roman army had taken over Masada, took it back, and that was the last of Israel's enemies. All right. So anyway, so it's very believable what Eusebius is saying here. So I think what's happened to the prior chapter, he's out lying and then trying to maintain credibility, or just in case we're all questioning it, then he gives through that information that's very believable, and I believe it's actually accurate. All right. So something to think about. why would his son Mark, Peter's son Marcus, be here, and Peter would be in Rome 1,200 miles away? Wouldn't it make sense that Peter was actually, when he referred to Babylon, he was actually referring to real Babylon, the safest Babylon known to the Jewish people at the time? And it's only been about 100, let's see, how far away would it have been? Yeah, just a little over 100 miles away. So, versus 1,200 miles away. All right, so, would it make sense? You know. So, anyway, something to think about. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up this. And, so this is something that it reminds me of Joseph Smith, the guy who wrote the Book of Mormon. I mean, it's all scam. It's all to fool people into thinking a certain way, and he's just trying to make himself more believable with this. And so, So one of many problems with Eusebius' writings, and I'll be making more videos on this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you find this thought-provoking, and hope you have an awesome day. Thank you.